same everywhere. Just like back in the 1950s, they aren't the same everywhere today. But living in a big city, it's going to cost more than a small town. Still, the numbers give us an idea of how much things have actually changed over the years. So let's start with rent. Back in the 1950s, you could pay about 50 to 75 bucks a month for rent. But today,
$50 to $75 a month for rent.
the average has jumped to $2,000 a month. So that's about 40 times higher. And for many people, housing as a total expense is now their biggest monthly expense.
Not only is it their biggest expense, but now the estimated amount for housing, right, is 30% of your income. So if $2,000 is the average rent, or the average price of a house, whatever, and your average income is supposed to take up 38% of your average income, and that would mean that everybody in the United States of America would be needing to make $6,000 per month after taxes in order to be close to that number, right? Obviously, I did some rounding, but to be close to that number, you'd all have to be making about $6,000 a month. Insane, because it's not even that long ago. I mean, we're talking 75 years.
Now, buying
So
a
much
house
has
back in
changed in that time,
1950, the average price of a home was just $7,400. I mean, wow. Wouldn't you like to buy a couple of those, right?
I don't even think you can get a shed for that price now. Like a literal shed from Home Depot. You'd have to finance it, and it would be much more than that. At least a nice one.
Now, fast forward today, and the average home cost is going to be around $412,300. So, of course, that house that's being built today, it's got larger square footage, and even basic homes today are a lot more luxurious than they were like the homes back in the 1950s. So how...
That's not a justification. The reason that's the case is because just like all these modern luxury apartments that are popping out, it's more profitable for the builders and for the sellers, everybody involved, to create bigger and badder houses that cost more, and to create apartments that cost more. It's just more profitable for them to do so on every level. So there's a justification, there's a reason, there's a encouragement from the system, from profits, from private equity to create more luxury items, more big houses rather than affordable ones, because they have way more profit. They produce a larger profit margin.
Housing has become much more expensive, even though wages have gone up as well. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. Okay, so how about cars? Now today, the average price of a car is $48,401. But back in 1950, you could buy a brand new car for as little as $1,500 or $2,500 at the most. But it's not just that things were cheaper back then. People earned less too.
A brand new car, $15,000 to $2,500 a month. And this is also another one of the things where all these car companies are only creating really expensive cars, SUVs, big cars, because one, people want them and keep buying them, so the power in the hands of the consumer, like always. But two, because there's way more profit in giving you the Toyota RAV4 with all the bells and whistles and the extra luxury edition and all the things that you absolutely don't need, yet people continue to buy it, so they're going to continue to sell it. $48,000 on average versus $1,500.
So back in the 1950s, minimum wage was something between 75 cents and $1 an hour. But today, depending upon where you live, that minimum wage is between $7.25 and $17 an hour.
Okay, yeah, it's way higher, but for every single expense of every single thing. $7 an hour, which is the actual minimum wage in Louisiana and a lot of different states throughout the United States, literally isn't enough to do anything, to exist at all in the U.S. And if we're looking at the cost, the price that the people were getting paid then, right, which he said, what, it was about 70 cents? That's like 10 times the price when comparative to the other things we looked at, right, which is like rent and the house and the cars. The rent specifically is like a 40x comparative to where it used to be. 40 times as much. So for this to have only increased 7 times as much, obviously there's a humongous discrepancy there.
So wages has definitely gone up since the 1950s. But when you think about how much more housing, food, and the basic things cost today, it's easy to see how many people feel like they just can barely get ahead. So let's take a look at groceries. In 1950, feeding a family of 4 for a month, it just cost $30. Now today, that same family, they're spending around $845 a month on groceries. And sure, our diets have evolved, but there's more choices at the store, but that's still a massive jump no matter which way you look at it. So as you can see, the numbers really do show how much things have changed, but prices have gone way up over the years, even though people are earning more money now. So it's both things going up, but not at the same time. And often it just doesn't feel like there's enough to cover all of these additional costs of the basic things like housing, food, and even getting around. So let's talk about why the shift is happening and what's causing prices to rise so much. Now, your grandparents could afford a house, a car, and support 3 kids on one salary. But in 2025, 2 incomes can barely cover all the bills, even though the income is over 6 figures. The system is broken, but it's up to us to figure out how to make our
Who's
lives
it really up to, right? Because you tell people things, you educate them on things, you tell them not to buy certain things, not to support certain corporations, you try to get them to rage against the machine. But all Americans and U.S. citizens do is point the finger at each other instead of revolting like we did at the origin of this country and get mad over 3% in taxes. People are now getting taxed half of their income or more in some situations. And there's nothing. There's no outcry. There's no anger. People are just silent. They're sitting down. They aren't getting mad. And they're doing absolutely nothing about anything except indulging themselves in hedonistic pleasures that indicate the fall of our great society, or our once great society. And like, what's he talking about? You know, what's he talking about? Who?
better. And no one's coming to save you guys. You need to figure this stuff
Generic
out for
boomer
yourself.
talk.
Because over the last 2 centuries, about 90% of the world's millionaires have been creating wealth through real estate. And this is a striking fact that the power of real estate has a wealth building tool in
Okay, and he has a real estate channel, so that's where the advertisement comes in. We got our data, though. We got our knowledge. That is how stark the differences are in terms of just numbers between the price and cost of living in the 1940s versus now. And, I mean, I don't have to say much more, right? And of course, he's going to come on here, oh, well, the real estate is a great opportunity because I'm a real estate investor and I'm a boomer who's had the opportunity to invest in this stuff forever. But that's really not incredibly valuable information for us right now. On top of that, if people are going to keep buying houses and our population isn't growing at the rate that it's supposed to be, then there's going to be nobody to buy these houses in the future. And not everybody is going to want to buy a house. House ownership in general is going down, and the desire to do so is going down. Partially because our generation understands that it's, in a lot of situations, an unattainable goal for a lot of people. And what I mean by that is, it's not that you can't go out and get a mortgage. It's just that you can't go out and get one that makes sense, that's financially intelligent, and results in you buying something that's actually going to increase in value while owning it rather than you losing it potentially. Not to mention all the money that you're going to be paying in interest, all the unrealized gains that exists. And I highly doubt that him telling us that we should invest in real estate is going to be some new knowledge for any of us. Anyway, I just really wanted to get those numbers to you and emphasize how crazy that is and how much everything has changed except for the average wages that are being paid out to Americans.